Before coming to the help center, I was someone very lonely, paranoid, I had trust issues, I was rebellious, very angry, full of addictions, and I was a mess, completely lost in my own actions. I had street conflicts, influences from different things such as music, look up to other people. I was just completely destroyed. Like even at school, I was failing everything that I was doing. From a young age, from about 11 or 12, I was addicted to pornography. And from even before that, from about 10, I was addicted to music. So it was the things that really revolved around my life during nighttime especially. For example, with pornography, that escalated even more from about 13 to 14, that it really struck me at nighttime, if I can say it. Sometimes I would even watch it to go to sleep, just so that it could take stress off my mind, because I was very lonely, because especially being only child as well. So it's like at night, I felt like I needed something to do. The lowest point I'd say was when I came to hear about the help center. And I knew there were addictions which kept on, if I can say, destroying me inside, but I still kept them because I felt like I was fine. It wasn't something that was doing anything to me, doing any harm. But it came to a point where I was in the help center receiving some advice, some counseling, and it's like I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't let it go. So after a while, I was getting help and advice, and then I decided that I had to drop it because, first of all, it stopped me from sleeping at night, meaning my grades were dropping and I couldn't do anything about it. The music was just kept giving me an adrenaline rush, so I kept on wanting to do more stuff, more violence, more aggression, and it affected me everywhere. From times where I was playing football, to the times I was in school, to where I was on the streets, to the times where I get conflict with other people. Even in the church, my thoughts would be aggressive and violent. So it came to a point where I was saying it had to stop, because otherwise it would have taken me to another place. At first I heard about the help center when my mum told me about it, but I was quite reluctant at first. I didn't really go, I wasn't interested. To me, it's like I didn't need it, because I said I could do things by myself. I didn't need anyone's help. It took quite a while for me to give it up. First of all, because me, myself, I still wanted some of it, the pleasure and just the way it was. So the porn, eventually I got rid of it because it was a process for it. But it didn't, when I decided I wanted to let it go and to get rid of it completely, it didn't take a long time. But the music was something else, because music was something that drove me, something that kept me going. Even though it was negative, to me it's something that I fed off. It gave me energy to do more. Even though it was wrong, but to me it's something that I required. It was like drinking water to me. So I was coming to the help center on Fridays to fight against all the negativity that was holding me back, and also battling against my thoughts, because I had violent thoughts due to the music and so on. So I came a lot of Fridays and Sundays to get the strength to overcome these things, and also Wednesdays to learn more about them, learn more how I can overcome these things, because I knew I couldn't do it by my own strength. So I needed someone else to help me with that. And also I listened to the advice, I took them in, because I realized that all these addictions were only destroying me. And it came to a point where I said, you know what, I need to start accepting the advice. Since overcoming and since really taking the decision to get rid of them, I've been clean from the addictions. Now it's been about 1 year and 5 months since I've been clean from it. That's the porn and also the music, about 1 year, literally about a year. A year and, if I can say it, a year and 4 months. The advice I'd give to someone is that they have to realize that these things are not helping them in any way, that there is a way out, that it's not just normal. Because I'm sure if people will see that the behavior that they behave when they listen to certain type of music, or when they do watch porn, people will see them as in it's not normal, it's unusual. But even though you won't realize it, eventually someone else will start picking up the pieces for you, and they will start to build an image for you, and they'll show you. And in the end, it if you don't accept their help, it might be too late and it might end up putting you downhill. I'm Andy and that was my story.
Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to Finding Answers. You can probably see now in my hands I have here a very long rope. And you know, rope can be a great thing. I recently watched a video of someone who was about to be swept under by this huge current. And someone threw her a rope and managed to save her life. In the same way, I believe that every day we get opportunities to grab onto a rope, to grab onto something that will help us, to take us out of the situation that we're in, to change the course, the direction of our life. The problem is that sometimes the rope is thrown to you, to me, to all of us. I believe this rope, this opportunity comes to all of us, to the rich and to the poor. The problem is that some are not grabbing hold of the rope. And perhaps many times someone has taken the rope and thrown the rope to you in the hope that you would grab hold of it. In the hope that you would say, yes, I need this help. And you would tie this rope around your waist and say, listen, please help me. Please pull me out of the situation I'm in. But maybe with all the opportunities you've had, you've never really done that. And before you say that you've never really had opportunities, you've never really had a chance, before you start, trying to get everybody to feel sorry for you, let me tell you that God does not feel sorry for you. Did you know that? God, He doesn't feel sorry for you. So don't try to get God's sympathy with your tears. And perhaps you feel really hurt at what I'm saying right now. I can see here from the corner of my eye that Victoria, she's... What do you think about what I was saying just now, Victoria?
What about having opportunities?
About God not feeling sorry for people.
I'd never thought of it. It was something that you surprised me.
Right. And that's how many people feel. Good evening, by the way.
Good evening.
And that's how many people feel. Many people feel, look, God has to feel sorry for me because I'm poor, because I came from a poor family, because I never really got a chance to go to a good university, because I was cheated on, because I never really had a good start at life. But let me tell you, God doesn't feel sorry for you. And He's not moved by emotions either. You cannot get God to respond to your needs because you made Him feel sorry because of your tears, because all your suffering. If that was the case, then people who suffer a lot would be very close to God. And those who don't suffer would be far away from God. But that's not the case. That's not the case at all. God is not necessarily closer to the poor than He is to the rich. So if God doesn't answer to emotion, if God doesn't answer to pity, to your tears alone, then what moves God to answer you? What moves Him to answer? What is it? What is the one thing that moves God to answer you? That's the question. And the one thing that moves God to answer you is faith. That's right. And maybe you are rich, but you have faith. And maybe you are poor, but you don't have faith. Some people say, well, the poor have more faith. Not necessarily. Because what is faith? Faith is believing that even when everything seems hopeless and lost, things can still turn around. That's the rope. The rope I was talking about at the beginning of this program is faith. Because when someone comes to you and says, listen, I'm going to show you how to go to God and get Him to work on your behalf and get His attention to you, then the person is teaching you to use their faith. This program is a rope. Did you know that? This program is the rope you've been looking for. It's someone saying, listen, you don't have to go through this anymore. Here's a rope, grab hold of it. Let's get out of this situation together. Perhaps you've been stuck in that quicksand day after day. And you know, when a person is in a quicksand, guess what is the only way they can get out of it? You know, right? What is the only way? someone has to throw you a rope. No matter how much you move, actually when you're in quicksand, the more you move, the more you sink. Perhaps that's how your life been. Your life has been, you've been fighting, you've been working, and it's like the more you try, the less you have. The more you try, the more you fail, because perhaps you haven't tried one thing yet, which is to grab hold of the rope and say, my God, I give up of trying to do things by myself. I need help right now. Do you need help right now? Do you need to hold on to this rope? Then get into contact with us right now. And you can do that by calling us. Tonight we're not going to use Facebook or Twitter. We're going to use our email address and our telephone number. You're going to speak to us directly. If you email us, Victoria will be reading your email here. Let that email address be a rope to you. Tell us what you're going through. Tell us. I may not have the answer to life's philosophy. Not philosophy, that's not the word, philosophical questions. Yep. I may not have the answer to life's philosophical questions, but I have faith, and with faith, the sick can be healed. With faith, broken families can be restored. With faith, nothing is impossible. I may not be the most educated person on the face of the earth, but I believe that the impossible can become possible when we use our faith. Do you want to grab hold of this rope? Do you want me to pull you to safety by the power of the God that I believe in? Then go ahead and give us a call. No matter what you're going through, no matter how hopeless and lost you feel, tonight is the night for you to take your life into your own hands once again and change the course of your life. The number to call is 020-7686-6300. 020-7686-6300. But James, my situation is horrible, it's hopeless, it's impossible. There is nothing that can be done for my situation. Until your last breath, there is hope. Until your last breath, things can change. You can also contact us via email, which is help@findinganswers.tv. And Victoria will be reading your emails once you write to us. We're going to go into a short break. When I come back, I will be speaking to Victoria about people who need help, who need a rope, but they pretend that they don't. They put on a front. We'll be right back.
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020-7686-6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Welcome back. Here's why some people are in need of help, but are still putting on a front and not seeking the help that they require. Here's why.
Happy people are often thought of as strong and sad people as weak. Often people will feel devastated inside, but will show themselves to be positive and happy to the people around them. This is often basic survival of the self. We don't want to appear weak, lacking strength, or unable to manage. Do you wear a mask and are you scared to expose the real you? People who put on a front may have given up being open, vulnerable, loving, and connected. They may try to separate themselves from how they really feel. There may be a big gap between your real self and your ideal self. This could be due to society and environmental influences, or just not wanting to show the outside world that you are not coping. But how long can this go on for? Asking for help is thought to be a sign of weakness, but actually it can be a sign of strength. Here are a few reasons why you should not put on a front and suffer in silence. It prolongs your suffering. You are less likely to get the help that you need if you withhold vital information, such as symptoms or concerns. It can reinforce your symptoms. Resistance can create persistence. It intensifies your negative thoughts. The less you let others know how you feel, the more likely you are to ruminate and keep thinking about your problems over and over again. It delays treatment. You may be hoping that your problems are going to go away on their own. But if you wait too long, your symptoms may be harder to treat. You are not being true to yourself. You owe it to yourself to acknowledge what is going on and find the courage to ask for help from the people you trust. It reinforces your belief that no one can help you and that you are alone in your battle. This isn't true. Remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness.
Hello and welcome back to Finding Answers. So tonight we're talking about putting on a front. So what we mean by that is people who maybe are suffering inside, but when they open their front door, they're all smiles and they're pretending that everything's wonderful and they're really happy. Now that actually can be quite psychologically painful. It's called incongruence. So if you feel one way inside, but you're acting another on the outside, it's actually quite psychologically painful. Somebody did a study once on the people who work at the front of shops and they have to smile for a living, but they're not happy when they're smiling, and actually that can be quite damaging. So if you do have to smile for your job, maybe it's worth actually being happy rather than hating your job. But this is the same for people who spend most of their time lying to themselves even and putting on what we would say was a mask because maybe they're scared to ask for help.
And what you say makes a lot of sense because it's like an actor, and you know the case of Robin Williams comes to mind because he struggled with depression, he struggled with substance abuse. Actually, from what we found out, also from reports, his marriage was going through a lot of problems. He was sleeping on a different bedroom from his wife, and yet his job was to make people laugh. We're not saying that he was putting on a front, but certainly in the movies he was doing, he was portraying to be someone very happy and making other people's laugh. He got paid to do that, but yet in his own personal life, there was a lot of trouble going on. And that must have been, you know, it's like you become an actor full time, right? And that must have been really painful.
Yeah, so maybe he couldn't ever be himself and deal with the issues. So maybe it was a kind of escapism that he just sort of but went a bit far and never really dealt. I don't know. There's a huge amount of reasons, but yeah, I suppose if you're constantly acting, then it's going to take it out of you.
Absolutely. But I don't know, maybe you've been acting. Maybe you are acting to be someone who seems to be happy, and yet you're not. And because you don't want to portray that you're not happy, you don't ask for help. You pretend that everything is fine. If people ask you, maybe you've got no food in your cupboards, you're sick, things are going wrong, and yet you say to everyone, things are great, right? And sometimes, I'm not telling you that you have to go and tell the whole world when you feel a little bit unhappy about something. I'm saying that sometimes you do need help. Victoria, we don't need help all the time. We have the ability to deal with problems ourselves, right? And that's a great thing. But sometimes you don't have the expertise, you don't have the motivation, the strength to deal with that, and you may need someone's help. And it's not a sign of weakness to say, listen, I need a hand with this, please help me.
Particularly with men, they want to come across as strong and independent, and also these days women as well, because independence is an important trait in our social situation, but it's not a sign of weakness at all. So like we said, you shouldn't maybe ask for help in everything, because it's good to learn how to deal with things yourself, but sometimes it is worth talking to somebody and saying, look, I need help, I can't do this anymore.
Absolutely. Now, after the break, you're going to meet Davina, who is here in the studio with me, and she lived part of her life pretending to be happy when actually she wasn't, hiding many things that were taking a toll on her life. And it's like, if you sweep the dirt under the carpet, it's only a matter of time until that becomes obvious to everybody else. And that's how she lived. But you're going to see how the day that she took the mask off, then she managed to deal with the problems and she found a way out of them. And perhaps you can do that as well. I want to remind you that if you want to speak to us, you can do so even now during the break and throughout this program. And you don't have to speak to us on air. Maybe you want to speak to us off air and ask for help. The number to call is 020-7686-6300, or send us an email, help@findinganswers.tv. We're going to go into a short break. We'll be right back.
What would you do if you had to protect a great treasure? If the answer is obvious when it comes to material wealth, it should be even more obvious when the treasure is greater: your marriage. In Bulletproof Marriage, the couple Renato and Cristiane Cardoso offer solid guidance to those who appreciate the value of their relationship and want to shield it against the risk of divorce. Besides their years of counselling thousands of couples, Renato and Cristiane present the hugely successful TV show The Love School, as well as marriage courses around the world. In over 2 decades, they have lived in 3 countries and have given hundreds of talks in more than 30 countries. Speaking from their long and sometimes troubled marriage experience, the couple offer practical tips to protect current and future relationships. To order your book online or for more information on the Love School event 2014, visit our site, theloveschoolevent.com. This event was brought to you by the UCKG Help Centre.
So, maybe you're thinking about making some big changes or setting some ambitious goals for yourself. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds or read through the Bible. Maybe you want to run a marathon or repair a broken relationship. Whatever your big goal is, the temptation is to expect to go straight from here to here, or from here to here. The reality is, there are a lot of small steps between big decisions and big results. Challenges and obstacles await. At some point, you might even want to quit. But stand firm. Don't be disappointed with slow progress. Don't be overwhelmed by the destination. Rather, focus on what you can do today. Skip dessert. Read a chapter. Go for a run. Make a phone call. The more difficult the journey, the more rewarding the destination. And it can all start today with just one small step.
1/3 of women in the world are victims of violence or sexual abuse. The World Health Organization considers the problem a global endemic. After all, these women are everywhere. She sits next to you on the bus. She walks past you in the aisle at the supermarket. She could be your manager, a friend, your sister. She could be the person you least expect. For this reason, let us break the silence. The Rahab Project invites you who have been a victim of physical, verbal, or sexual abuse, or any other form of domestic abuse, to participate in a meeting aimed at your physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual freedom, promoting peace to all women who are or have been victims of abuse. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org/Rahab.
Welcome back. I'd like you to meet Davina, who's sitting here next to me. Good evening, Davina.
Good evening,
How
James.
are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Davina, so you used to put on the front. You used to hide who you truly were.
Yeah, I used to pretend to be like this really strong, bold woman. Like, I would be like one of those people that would be the life of the party. You know, everyone used to like the way that I used to be because I was bubbly. You know, I used to make a lot of jokes and stuff like that. And I used to pretend to be this really, really tough person that nothing could touch me, but it was totally opposite. Like I was really, really emotional because of a lot of things that happened to me through my life, but I didn't allow anybody to get to see that because I thought that if I let people get through to that part of me, then they would be able to hurt me, they would be able to see me in a different light.
What were you hiding behind that fake happiness that you were trying to show? What were you hiding there?
From when I was really young, I was sexually abused by a family friend, and for me, obviously when I was quite young, I didn't understand that, so I just ignored it, I just got along with it. And then on my 6th birthday, my dad passed away, and that was just the turning point of who I had to be. Like, I became really, really emotional. I was very aware of life and death at a really young age, and it was really hard because my mum tried to find partners and stuff like that, and they would beat her up a lot. You know, they would verbally abuse her, and literally my mum would be backed up in the corner, I'd be behind her, and they would be punching her, hitting her, and it really, really hurt me because I was like 6, 7, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. So at that moment, at 6, 7 years old, I decided, I said, you know what, I'm gonna be tough when I get a bit older. I'm not gonna allow any man or anybody to push me around. When it came to primary school, going through there, I was bullied a lot as well, and that made it even more of a reason to say I had to be tough, you know. And there was times that my mum, she even said, oh, you're soft, you know, you're a crybaby. And I thought, okay, mum, you don't understand me. So I was like, okay, you want me to be tough, you want me to be someone that, you know, who shouldn't be bullied and stuff like that. So I started to put up a little front when I was in primary school. Then it continued through secondary school. I was bullied even more, and I even planned out the type of person that I wanted to be. I would spend hours literally just planning out who I should be. Okay, I need to be strong, I need to be a person that doesn't take rubbish from anybody. So when it reached secondary school, I looked up to these girls that were really rude and stuff like that, and I said, okay, I'm gonna be like that because nobody messes around with them, nobody bullies them. So I started to be rude, answering back to my mom, swearing at her, pushing.
Was this a way for you to try to not be hurt again? Because you had been hurt, you were sexually abused, then you saw your mom being hurt physically and verbally. Was that a way for you to try to protect yourself against that?
It was, because I thought, okay, if that can happen to my mum, and I looked up to my mum a lot, I said then that would be able to happen to me when I was older. So that was the whole point. The whole point of me putting up that its exterior was to say that nobody would be able to take advantage of me or hurt me like that.
And yet, by doing that, actually you were hurting yourself You were hurting your prospects of being happy in the future. And something very important we have to say is that when you try to put on a front, to hide who you truly are, you never really allow anyone to get to know who you truly are. And for you to develop a relationship, you have to let people in. Did you allow people to know who Davina really was?
No, and when my close friends, well, I would classify them as close friends, they would judge me on some of my characteristics. Oh, Davina, you shouldn't be rude to your mom. You know, you're very aggressive. Because when I would get angry, I would kick things, I would punch things up to the point until my knuckles would be swollen. So I would be...
Really?
Yeah, I've got like little like lines from where they were.
But you don't look like someone who punched things.
And,
what did you used to punch? You used to punch walls or people? What would you punch?
I would mostly punch walls because I wanted to be like a guy, because I felt the only way that I could survive in this world was to be like a guy. Because from the time I saw the example of my mom, I was saying, okay, I don't want to be like a girl, I need to be tough, so guys punch things. So to make people scared of me, I would be very intimidating. Even though I'm quite short and stuff like that, I would be very aggressive to say, look, back off. If you come to me doing something, I'm gonna do something to you. It was that type of thing. I didn't want anybody to hurt me. Yeah.
So all these things that had happened to you turned you into an angry person. Did you ever tell anyone about these insecurities you had, about these issues you had with, you know, the abuse and the things that happened at home? Did you ever talk to anyone about that?
No, I didn't, because I felt that I had to deal with that by myself, and I felt that I'd be judged by people. There was one time that one of my mum's partners that actually beat my mum up, and I tried to confide in a friend, and it was really uncomfortable for me that I just said to my friend, oh, I was joking, it was a lie, and then I said, I'm never going to talk to anybody about my personal issues, I'm just going to try and get along with it. If I try and forget about it, like anytime things from the past would pop up in my mind, anytime there would be a situation that would bring it up, I would always try and suppress it. I would try and do everything to just forget about it.
What was the lowest point of your life, Davina?
The lowest point was when I was 17 years old. I ended up, after going through being angry and stuff like that, you know, going through like relationships and stuff, I had a really serious relationship with a guy. He was very abusive, and it wasn't like that at the beginning of the relationship. He was very sweet, he was very nice and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, I can open up now, you know, he seems like a nice person. But he was in gangs and stuff like that, and he used to cheat on me a lot, and he used to verbally abuse me, he used to push me around, and he used to rape me as well, which was really, really tough for me, because I always thought, okay, I'm a tough girl, you know, only stupid girls have that happen to them. And for a very long time, I said, no, he didn't rape me. You know, I just said I allowed him. I didn't classify what he did to me as that. Around that time period of him raping me and stuff like that, me and my mum were in really bad arguments. She would tell me to get out the house. She didn't want me to be around because I was so aggressive. You know, I would always talk about people, because I said, if I tell everything about other people's business, they wouldn't be able to say anything about me. Everything backfired, and nobody wanted to talk to me anymore. Nobody wanted to care about me anymore. I just felt like, why am I even here on this earth? Like, all I do is wrong.
Did you ever try to go to the police to talk to them about what happened to you in that relationship?
Because I was in denial. I was in denial for like a very long time. I was in denial, saying, no, he didn't rape me. When he would want to do that, I would be like, okay, he's my boyfriend, it's fine. Like, but until I actually just started thinking about it, I was like, no, but I never went to the police.
So how did you come to the church, and how did you deal with that problem of all that anger you had, that persona you tried to put, that you were really tough? when actually you weren't tough. Inside you were broken, but you tried to pretend you were tough so that you could protect yourself. How did you come to the church and how these things change?
My friend, she went to the youth group of the church and I saw big changes in her. She actually cut me off because I was a very bad influence in terms of swearing, you know, being angry, you know, the way I would disrespect people on the bus, even older people.
So she was your friend, but then she cut you off.
Yeah.
Because you were a bad influence. Good on her. And actually that brought you to the church, which was good.
Yeah, she actually called me because she said she was in a service and the pastor was saying, think about someone who's suffering right now. And she knew everything that I was going through because she would see like the arguments I'd have with my mom. Lots of people was talking about my relationship with my boyfriend cheating on me and stuff like that. So she knew a lot of things that was going on with me. She knew that my dad died. She saw what I allowed her to see, and she invited me to come to a service. I was a bit freaked out because I was just like, I'm not really a church person. Even though I was brought up as a Catholic and everything, I just said, oh, church isn't for me. But for me, it was like the last door. I was like, okay, you know what, if God is really real, he has to do something.
And how did your life change there?
First, I came to the youth group, which wasn't really my thing because they were really happy people. I was thinking, why are they all smiling? They're jumping around.
How come, let me just stop you there. How come every person who comes on this program and talks about the youth group of the church, they always say the same thing? Oh, these people looked so happy. You're not the first or the second. Everyone says that. I mean, there must be something with this youth group that they're also happy. I mean, I don't know if they're drinking something, right? If there's something about, but there must be something in this youth group that everybody's so happy. So you got there and you were so down, so angry, and all these people were so happy. Did you think they were on something, or there was, what did you think?
The funny thing is, I was the type of person, when I would be in an environment, I would kind of be quiet and I would be antisocial and I would look at everybody. I would be like, okay, as soon as they'll be like, oh, hi, how are you? Then I'll be like, hi. I'll be thinking maybe they're trying to be nice to get something off me. What do they want? But they were actually happy, and I was thinking, okay, if they can be happy like that, I want to know what they're doing. So in youth group, the youth pastor would he'll talk about friends, he would talk about different things, and I'll put it into practice. And doing a lot of tasks within the youth group, it actually helped me with my confidence. And a lot of the youth, they told me their testimonies as well, and I was thinking, okay, if they could change and they went through things that I went through, I didn't exactly tell them, but I said, you know what, then I can change as well. So
you drew strength from their stories, right, for you to change as well. And Davina, how are you today? Because you were this angry person, this bitter person, this person who portrayed to have a tough exterior, but actually you were not tough, you were actually just broken. How are you today?
Today, I can say that I love who I am. I don't have to put up a front anymore to say, look, I'm tough, this and that. I'm tough.
Because now you don't look tough at all. At all, right, Victoria? You don't look tough at all, which is good because, I mean, I hope no one gets what I'm going to say wrong, but a woman is not meant to look tough. She's meant to look like a woman, right? And we usually don't associate women with being tough. Actually, women are tough. But women are not tough because they look tough. Women are tough because, I tell you, my mom is one of the toughest people I know, and yet she doesn't look tough. But I tell you, bringing up 2 kids on her own, it was not an easy task. So she was tough. But today, are you tougher today than what you were before?
Yes, I am. But I don't have to show it in an aggressive way. I'm tough when I have to make decisions, you know, at uni, you know, at work and stuff like that, when I have to put my foot down in the right way. I'm happy. I'm achieving my goals in university because I never thought that I would be able to reach university. I never thought that I would be able to even reach 22 because I was so depressed and everything. My relationship with my mom is completely different. You know, I'm somebody who is very happy, and through the change that's happened to me, I've invited a lot of my friends and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so different now, what happened? And I'm able to share my story because I always thought that because of all the bad things that I was going through, that's what made me weak. But because I went through all of those things and I have come out a different person, I'm a lot more stronger than I've ever been.
That's great. Thank you for sharing your story. Now, I have a very special announcement to make after the break. Pastor Alvaro will be here with me after the break, and we want to tell you something that will be happening tomorrow. And this is a very, very special announcement, something that we weren't expecting to be happening tomorrow. Something good, by the way. Remember the Temple of Solomon that we spoke about here earlier in the year? Well, we have a surprise for you. A very, very great surprise. So stay where you are. We'll be right back.
The UCKG Helpline Call Centre is open 24 hours a day, every day of the week, all year round. If you need help due to a serious problem you may be going through, if you feel that you have nowhere to turn to and desperately need someone to lend a listening ear, then we can help you. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have done, your religion or race, your call will be answered by someone who genuinely cares about you and has your best interests at heart. We also arrange home visits for the housebound and hospital visits for anyone in great need of kindly human contact. Whether it is simply information you want or desperately need someone to talk to, we're here for you on 0207 686 6000.
Welcome back. Now, tomorrow night, something very special will be happening at our headquarters, at our church. Earlier in the year, something amazing happened. We actually showed you some highlights of the inauguration of the Temple of Solomon in Brazil, in São Paulo. And this was a momentous occasion. If you were lucky enough to have seen the footage of the inauguration of the temple, nothing was left to chance. There was attention to detail, to everything. And by the way, why am I telling you this? I shouldn't be telling you this because the person who was there is standing here right next to me, right? Alvaro, how are you?
Definitely. Hi, how are you? Good evening, everyone.
You had the privilege of being at the inauguration of the temple.
It was amazing. It was a remarkable experience.
Describe to us how it was, how amazing.
I'll try in words, but the moment that the Ark of the Covenant entered the temple, I believe for me it was the most important moment because of the value, the meaning.
Did you cry?
I nearly did.
You're a big guy. How can a big guy like that cry?
Sometimes we cry.
But I was watching the live broadcast of the opening, the inauguration of the temple, and it's not something that you can watch, and as a normal documentary or film. It's something highly spiritual. It was amazing, right?
Definitely, and only being there to understand how the moment is powerful, James, because as you said there, everything around has a kind of a symbology. Mm-hmm. Everything in the temple, when you look at the altar, you see the torn, the veil torn, you see the Ark of the Covenant, you see the candelabras, everything has a special meaning.
And that place is so holy that you see when we used to broadcast services from our any of our churches around the world, you would see a clear feed from the altar, right? The altar, how it looks like. Until now, if you have not entered the Temple of Solomon, then you would not have known what the altar looks like, because we are not showing, even in the videos of the services, they were not showing what the altar looks like. Right. Because that's how we imagine the altar to be. It's holy. It's not something to just broadcast anywhere. Of course, when you go there, you will see what the altar looks like. Actually, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't been there yet. I will be going there in November. Did you know that?
Well, I agree.
I'm going there in November by faith.
And I'm cheering up for you.
No, don't cheer. Congratulate me already, because I'll be there.
Okay, shake my hand there. You're going in November.
But there's a reason why we're saying this, Alva. Why are we talking about the Temple of Solomon like this? Well, let me tell you. Let's look there, because they were cutting your head.
Yeah.
The first meeting that Bishop Macedo will hold outside the Temple of Solomon, Bishop Macedo has been holding services at the Temple of Solomon weekly. And since the inauguration, that's where he's held every single service. The first service he will hold outside the Temple of Solomon will be here in London tomorrow night. That's right, tomorrow night, and for one night only, because straight after that, he will go back to Brazil. Right. He was here for the Love School, and it's not something we can just know that it's happening tomorrow and not let you know. It would be very selfish of us. That's why we have to let you know that you have this opportunity to be part of this very special meeting.
So it's going to be in our headquarters here in London, and James, every time he comes, he gives a message that changes people's lives.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that people who are watching us right now, who are hopeless, who are in need of direction, if they participate, if they attend, I'm sure that this meeting is going to be a life-changing experience.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to know more details about this meeting, you can give us a call now, 020-7686-6300, or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. We hope to see you there tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. I have canceled all other appointments that I had, because no matter what, I will be there. There's nothing more important for this. It's going to be the food for our faith, for our spiritual life, and you're all invited. Now, I'd like to invite you for a special prayer. We were talking about help, seeking help. Actually, the Word of God says that our help comes from God. It comes from above. Maybe you say, James, I'm at the bottom of a pit right now, a pit that I can't get out of. The one good thing about being in a pit of problems is that you can only look up. When you reach the bottom, you can't go any further, right? That's it. So at least there's one good news. It won't get any worse than what it is, right?
That's right, yeah.
But then again, it could be continuously bad if you get stuck there. What you need is to seek help from the right person. And sometimes this is the key, is the person seeking help from the right person. You can't go and seek help from someone who can't help you. You need to seek help from the one who can do something about it, and I believe that God is that person.
I agree, James, definitely. He has changed many lives. They saw what God did in Davina's life, and I'm sure that through the prayer now, lives are going to be touched, and I know marriages, people's health, finances, I'm sure that God's going to do something amazing in the lives of those who believe.
Absolutely. So what I'd like to do right now is I want to invite you for you to prepare your glass with water. If you can, go and prepare a glass with water right now, because we are going to ask God to throw you this rope. Maybe the rope you need is a healing. Maybe the rope you need is the strength that you didn't have until today, the strength to fight back against whatever has been happening that is negative in your life. Whatever the rope, whatever the help you need, you can find this help in God. Let's talk to Him right now.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer and include you in the Finding Answers prayer book, send your name and prayer request to prayer@findinganswers.tv.
My God, in the name of Jesus, the rope has been cast. There are many people who are right now believing that you can change their situation. So visit this person, my Lord. Maybe this person was flipping channels, not knowing what to watch. And now he's listening to this prayer. He's watching us live right now. And his life is upside down. Her life is upside down. But right now, my God, I ask you to touch this life. Deliver this person from her affliction, from his affliction. Enough of suffering. There are people who have been watching us continuously, constantly. But yet, my Lord, their lives are the same. My God, now is the moment for you to deliver this person. So touch these people, my God. Remove this pain. Those who are in anguish right now, feeling pain, depressed, sad, even feeling suicidal. Please, my God, remove this darkness, this negativity from this life. And let this person experience your power, your peace once and for all. My God, we use our authority and we command all this negativity, all this suffering, this darkness that is tormenting these people right now to depart from this life and never come back again. In the name of the Lord Jesus. My Lord, rescue this person now. Father, by faith, I ask you to consecrate this glass of water. Put your power in this glass. When these people drink this water, let them experience your presence. Maybe for the first time, this person will feel peace, at peace. So let this be the moment, my God. Enter this life as this water will enter this body. Blessing, delivering, healing those who are sick, setting people free in the name of Jesus Christ. With your eyes closed now, in faith, drink this water, drink it and receive God's power. Experience His presence there where you are.
You know, usually we get a lot of people who send us emails about problems they're going through, or people who call us and tell us that they're going through many different problems. I want to challenge you to do something different. Why not send us an email to tell us the good things that have happened to you as a result of the prayers you take part of this program? I sometimes go to different places and some people approach me saying, oh, I usually watch the program that you do on TV and it really helps me. So let us know that it helps you. You know, we like to hear when you are asking for help and you need prayer, but we also love to hear when the prayers we are making are bringing result and you can testify to that. So if you want to send us an email, let us know the positive impact that this program has brought on your life, on your family, because that will keep encouraging us to keep doing what we're doing. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Until tomorrow, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.